Hello, twin flames, light workers, and star seeds, and welcome to your reading. This is Divine Truth Tarot, and I'm here to deliver another message for the collective. So if you haven't yet, check out my message from earlier today. That was specifically for star seeds, light workers, and twin flames. What do you most need to know right now? And some very interesting messages that came out. If you're after a personal reading with me, please reach out to me. The email is listed below. I am a little behind answering personal emails, so if you've emailed me already to book, don't worry. I will answer them in the order in which they were received. And I'm almost full for the month of April, so then I will begin booking out into May. Probably next week I will start booking those readings. Just so you guys know, I do not just offer readings. I offer not just twin flame readings, many different types of readings, often several choices that you have each month. And I highly recommend that you delve into other types of readings, especially where the divine feminine is at right now, or if you're a soulmate watching. We are in a very distinctive stage of our journey where we are very independent. We have gained our wings and we're no longer focusing on what the divine masculine is doing, who they're with, what they're doing. It's more about our individual journey and our ascension. And so that's why I offer many different types of readings. I also offer intuitive coaching. I'm an intuitive, I'm an empath, and I am also a medium. So those messages may come out for your readings as well. So let us delve into this message. So what I want to look into is what are the divine feminine's blind spots on her journey right now, and what does she most need to know in order to move forward, in order to sort of eradicate those blockages? Because I feel like, based on the reading I just did a few hours back, there's a lot of, it's not even the dark night of the soul energy. It's more just shadow work that is being done right now. A lot of this is corresponding to past lives. So past lifetime hurdles that we are overcoming right now, past lifetime pain, past lifetime grief and loss. And so how do we move past that? So I've brought in the Starseed Oracle, my tried and trusted and true deck, the Angel Tarot cards that I've been using for the past week or so. I do have the Angel Answers deck and the Keepers of the Light deck, and there's one more. Okay, they want me to go ahead and bring in the Moonology deck because we do have this new moon in Aries coming up in 2 days on the 12th. And so particularly for Aries Sun, Aries Moon, Aries Rising, Aries North Node, even Mars in Aries, you will be feeling this particularly as a spectacular new beginning. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the Angel Tarot deck. Now I'm going to give it a good shuffle because I did use this deck earlier today, and we're going to go ahead and set the intention that this is a power message for the divine feminine on what does she or he most need to know at this time on their journey. If you stepped into your independence, this message is for you. If you're about to step into your independence or you're wondering how to do that, this message is for you. If you're still stuck on the divine masculine and you're still stuck on false timelines, you're still stuck on illusions, you're still stuck on the 3D, this probably isn't your message. No judgment at all wherever you are at on your journey, because we've all been there. This is just a power message for those feminines who have freed themselves from the matrix and freed themselves from the illusion of this twin flame journey, to understand that it's really about coming home to yourself. It's really about you identifying where you have not done your own shadow work, where you have not stepped into the light or the truth or authenticity of who you truly are and what you truly are. So let's get some overarching energy here for the divine feminine. Seven of Cups. We have some repetitive messages coming through over the past few days. Three of Cups, celebration. So decisions, celebrations upon making those decisions. That's really what I'm picking up on, guys, is the Seven of Cups can indicate that there's some indecisiveness in the mix, in the energy. And then the Three of Cups, though, is all about celebrating. It's all about friendship. It can often indicate a wedding or engagement. This is a repetitive message that's coming through. So I do feel like the feminine has accomplished marrying himself or herself. The feminine has now reached full inner union where there is no reliance or codependency at all on anything external. And that includes your divine counterpart or your soulmate, if you're a soulmate watching. That includes this energy of not needing somebody else to fulfill you, to fill you up or fill your cup. And that energy where it's a feminine energy where you're asking everyone, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then at the end of the day, you're still confused about what to do because you don't know, because you haven't looked inside of yourself for the true and real answers that are authentic to you and your journey. Well, that energy is gone. That's been eradicated. And upon the completion of this decision of whatever this is, because there are decisions for the feminine to make at this time, whatever that decision is, the universe is celebrating with you. The world, life is celebrating with you. Joy. This is joy and celebration, happiness, proposals, weddings, engagements, dances, celebration of life. This could sometimes indicate that you're going to hear about somebody being pregnant or somebody having a child, or, whether this is a spiritual baby or an actual physical baby. There's just so much good to celebrate. And then we have the Fool. Interesting, the Fool. Let's talk about the Fool, because that also came up in the reading that I did earlier today. So we have the Fool and the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is bringing inner unity. So remember, I talked about this before we even drew any of the cards here. Unity, inner union. The divine feminine has reached inner union. So the masculine polarity, the masculine energy in your connection is inside, internally and externally, is feeling this. And they're feeling this as a void. They're feeling this. And the way that the masculine energy operates as a chaser is while the feminine is running, and I'm just using these terms very loosely because I don't necessarily totally believe in the runner-chaser dynamic, or that it has to happen, or that your connection has to follow certain rules or obligations. We have to free ourselves and liberate ourselves from that paradigm. It's unique to you. But let's call, for the sake of this reading and purposes of explanation, the masculine is in the chaser energy. The feminine is in the runner energy. As the feminine is becoming very independent in doing her own thing and really getting back to herself and her happiness and the things that bring her joy, healing the inner child, bringing unity, within. She's gone through this deep, deep, significant stage where there was a lot of pain. There was a lot she reclaimed parts of herself that she had lost. Those soul fragments have been united and reunited. And in the process, she realized who she was. She realized her strength, her power, her courage. And the masculine is sort of in awe of this woman or this man that is his or her counterpart. The masculine standing back like, I really want to celebrate with her. I really want to be the person that she celebrates with, that she chooses to celebrate with. But at the same time, they're still not feeling 100% totally worthy, of receiving that love, of receiving that connection. And so the masculine is over here in this energy of dreaming about the feminine, but not really sure how to bring this together in the physical world, because he's like, well, why does she need me? She's moving her life forward. He can feel you moving forward, feminine. He can feel you detaching. He can feel you letting him go. And that's why we got the Eight of Cups, the Five of Cups energy, the Eight of Swords energy in the earlier reading, was because the masculine can really feel that the feminine is letting go and releasing him. Sorry for the pause. Okay, so the masculine feels the feminine releasing him and the feminine letting him go. He feels sort of lost and confused. And he's in this place of he's starting this new cycle. He's released a lot. He's released karmic connections, relationships, marriages, jobs, etc. His attachment to money, his attachment to needing power, his attachment to material things, his attachment to flirtations, his attachment to addictions, gambling, etc., other women, other men. So as he's detached from all of this, and he's really gone through a healing cycle, he wants to start fresh, but he realizes he's pushed the feminine away so much that the feminine is sort of like, look, I had no choice but to go within and to reach this place of this inner sanctum of my own heart, and to bring in those fragments so that I escaped the loneliness, so that I not escaped, but so that I healed the loneliness that I felt within from your departure. And now the feminine has walked away. If you're watching this and this is resonating, you will be a feminine who has walked away. But you haven't walked away out of spite, you've walked away out of necessity. And in that walking away feminine, your masculine has really woken up. And it almost feels like for some of you, you're thinking too little, too late. Where were you 6 months ago? Where were you a year ago? Where were you last year? Where were you 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Depending on how long you've been on this journey. So the feminine is really in this, like, you are celebrating whatever this decision is going to be. It could be the decision of walking away. It could be the decision of walking away from a karmic relationship. It could be the decision to move, the decision to leave a job, the decision to start your own business. Whatever that decision is, just to leave behind things that make you feel like shit. You have reached inner unity with these decisions you've made. You have really reached a place where you're celebrating life again. You're celebrating yourself. You're celebrating joy. And the masculine's sort of like, well, I don't know what to do. He's ready to follow his heart. He's ready to take that leap of faith towards you. But the thing that's stopping him is, well, I don't know if she wants to hear from me. I don't know if she wants to see me. I don't know. And he's blaming himself and sort of realizing that, look, the obstacles that I placed in this connection, I'm now feeling the consequences. Where the feminine felt the consequences in the past, right? He's now feeling the consequences of his own actions. So apply this to your inner masculine and inner feminine and see how this correlates, see how this sort of intertwines with your physical reality, because this is also meant for your inner union energy, right? So how has your inner masculine energy, how has it's like it's ready to go with this Aries energy. It's ready to take that leap of faith, but your feminine is sort of like, I'm over here and I'm in this place of just complete peace and faith and joy and abundance. And I don't have room, space, time, or energy for anything less than everything that I deserve and everything that I desire. So tell me more about the feminine's blind spot, Spirit. Tell me more about the feminine's blind spots. The Empress. Maybe some of you aren't recognizing that you have become the Empress, that you are the mother of all things, that you are the creator. You hold within your womb the power to bring life to this planet. And that is something significant. That is something powerful. That is something so incredibly earth-shattering and life-changing, life-altering. And I don't think, feminines, that we've given ourselves enough credit for the ability that our incredible bodies have, because we've spent too much time putting our bodies down, and being shamed for having curves, or being shamed for not looking like a model, and being shamed for not being airbrushed, or having cellulite, or having wrinkles, or having gray hair, or whatever that might be. And if you're a masculine who is in the feminine energy, right, who identifies as a divine feminine, the feminine archetype, you will understand this as well, that we can be very hard on ourselves. So I don't think you've fully identified as the Empress or the Queen that you are. Spirit, tell me more about the Seven of Cups for the feminine. King of Swords. You have cut off ideas, you've cut off ideals, you've cut off programming, you've cut off belief systems, you've cut off people, you've cut out jobs, you've cut out food that doesn't agree with you, you've cut out a lot of things. This is the sword of truth, is what I call the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. You've cut out things that no longer can thrive in the environment that you're existing in. The energy that you're choosing to surround yourself with. You've cut out anything and everything that does not fit. And this includes your physical counterpart. If they haven't been able to step up to the plate and to match you, you've had no choice but to really it's sort of like an icy energy. It's a very logical, it's a very fact-based energy. The King of Swords is not one to, he's analyzing facts and figures. He's not thinking about emotions. He's not necessarily acting from his heart. You're in this energy where your masculine was last year. You're like, okay, this is what I need to do. So you're in a very practical mentality, and this is what's moving things forward in your physical life. Spirit, tell me more about the King of Swords. This is an interesting couple too, the Empress and the King of Swords, because the Empress is so nurturing and so giving and so compassionate, and the King of Swords is detached and logically minded, and is not really necessarily in touch with his emotions or his heart. So there could be a little bit of a war inside some of you, as maybe some of you haven't yet reached union. So there could be a group of you who is sort of struggling with like wanting to be very nurturing and also feeling the need to cut out certain people, maybe feeling guilty about that, and really needing to come to terms with that and needing to forgive yourself and not shame yourself for making these decisions that are going to better your life and really allow you to be authentic and true to you. Queen of Cups. Wow, fascinating. So the feminine energy. Okay, so they're actually telling me that the feminine energy is in this Queen of Cups energy. Feminine energy. The feminine archetype is in the Queen of Cups energy. I'm sorry, the masculine energy is in the Queen of Cups energy, and the feminine energy is sitting in this King of Swords energy. This is a very, very kind of awkward couple. However whether it's the Empress and the King of Swords or the Queen of Cups and the King of Swords, very awkward, like triangle here. There's definitely perhaps some analysis paralysis Virgo energy in the mix here of like, okay, this is the way things are. And it's sort of like the feminine has no time or energy for not only clutter, but for small talk. She's like, no, I don't want to hear anything other than the truth. I just don't have the time, the space, the energy for it. And it's true. Your life is very full. Your 3D life is at its max capacity right now. So you don't have the time or the energy to deal with anything, again, that isn't the full truth. I want the truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God, right? It's like, I will tell the truth. And if somebody isn't telling you the truth, if somebody's being deceitful, even if they're not being, even if they're not being like violent, and they're not trying to hurt you purposefully, you don't care. It's like, if you can't come in correct and you can't come in with the truth and be vulnerable, I just don't have the time for that. The masculine is in this energy of, it's like the dreamer energy, wanting to really give, finally understanding how to be empathetic. Because a lot of the masculines it's almost like they acted like, or it may have seemed like they lacked the gene of compassion or empathy. They didn't. It's just that they were in this place where they weren't able to see their shadow. They weren't in touch with their shadow. They were in shame of their shadow. They felt ashamed for how they treated the feminine. And it was easier for them to walk away or run away rather than face themselves and in turn face you. So on this new quest, this new adventure, this new journey that they're on, they are absolutely in this very tender-hearted energy. And they're learning to trust their intuition. They're learning to care for themselves. They're learning how to care for other people. But first, they're learning to fill their own cups, which was enabling them to then be this nurturer. So when you take the Empress and the Queen of Cups, this is a very interesting couple. So feminine, even though you've got this King of Swords energy, you're still the Empress. You're just combining the masculine with the feminine. You're just finally learning how to step forward in a way that nurtures both elements and both aspects of yourself. the yin and the yang, the sun and the moon, the dark and the light. And you're not shaming one or the other. It's not like this is better, this is worse. Whereas before it might have been like logic, and it might have been very hard for you to see the love or feel the love from your counterpart, because I do feel like your counterpart was reflecting back to you this unhealthy relationship you had with the masculine energy in your life. And that was because of your unhealthy relationship and dynamic with your inner masculine. So Spirit, tell me about the feminine's relationship to her inner masculine. Spirit, tell me about the feminine's relationship to her inner masculine. Page of Wands. You're feeling much better about this relationship. You're feeling confident, you're feeling brave, you're feeling courageous, you're feeling strong, you're feeling powerful, and you're really, really ready for this next adventure. I feel like, you're still sort of in this inquisical curiosity, this inquisitive, curious energy about what does it mean to be, instead of at odds or in battle with my masculine energy or masculine energy in my life, what does it mean to actually be understanding, to be more compassionate, to be more loving, and to understand that the masculine energy isn't out to get me, but the masculine energy is actually wanting to protect me. And what if I started by protecting myself, and I protected, what if I became the carer of my own self? What if I became the nurturer of my own self? What if I really, really fell in love with my masculine energy and allowed my masculine energy to be vulnerable, allowed my masculine energy to explain to me why it is logical sometimes and where it's coming from? So I feel like this is so fascinating. It's so multifaceted right now. The connections are really complex, actually. It's very interesting to see this. Interesting. This is so fascinating because we're getting repetitive cards here. The Page of Wands, Page of Cups, new beginning in love, and then the Ace of Swords. So definitely a new beginning, starting in the mind. There's this new beginning, this new beginning that's leading to unity, this new beginning of how you're perceiving the masculine energy in your life and in the world at large, and in all of your relationships with men also. So that's all changing. Spirit, tell us more about any blocks or the shadow work that the feminine is doing right now in the lead up to the new moon. So tell us more about the shadow work that the feminine is doing. Don't let your past hold you back. South Node. South Node is the node that corresponds to our past lives, past experiences, past relationships, past habits, addictions, etc. And it can often hold us back from achieving our destiny in this lifetime. If we're living in the past, right? If we're stuck in the past and that endless Groundhog Day, we can't move forward. So make sure that with this new moon, you're allowing yourself to be propelled forward into this fresh start, allowing yourself to be propelled forward into this new beginning and into this inner union and inner sanctum. A win-win outcome is forecast. Full moon in Libra. We just had the full moon in Libra about 2 weeks ago. That was a hell of an energy, it was just a hell of a 2 weeks leading up to it, and then it happened, and then the week after it's been draining. It's been like the opposite of energizing. So I think this new moon is going to energize us again and breathe life back into us, because the scales of justice are being balanced or have been balanced. And that's another theme that's coming through in my readings and in these connections, is divine justice is being brought forth by the masculine, by the way, by the masculine energy. What miracles are being manifested with this new moon in Aries? Interesting, we have the North. I had a feeling that was going to come out. The North and the South Node. Step out of your comfort zone, because the South Node is your cozy blanket. It's your comfort zone. And those of you who have had North Node, South Node readings know that. I talk about that. So don't let your past hold you back and step out of your comfort zone. You have to step out of your comfort zone to enter your North Node, because your North Node is really quite uncomfortable, especially until you go through your Saturn return at the age of 29. Once you go through that, you feel like you've been through hell and back, and you're like, oh, I just got to keep going. This is hell, you know? It's like my feet are on fire. My life is on fire. And once you go through that, and it lasts about 2.5 years, and you come out of it about 31 years old, going on 32, you start to really, really live. And Saturn really becomes your friend at about age 45, if, you know, astrologically speaking. And that's when you truly, truly have Saturn on your side. I think up until that point, you're sort of battling Saturn, battling the energy of this stern, paternal grandfather or father energy that just wants you to, it sort of feels restricting. It feels the opposite of liberating. And then once you hit 45, you're in a groove and you've got your rhythm and you're a little bit more organized. Your finances are in order and things are really, really starting to settle. So the energy of stepping into your North Node is a very ripe right now with this new moon in Aries and just this new cycle, this new beginning. It's springtime. We've just entered the spring equinox. Eclipse season, I don't think, is too far away. So that's an interesting energy that's going to be coming in. It's going to be really quite cray. I'm going to look up actually because I have my laptop. So I'm going to look up, pardon my arm, eclipse season 2021. Okay. Okay. I know. Let's see. I think it's this summer actually. Yeah, May 26th, so not quite summer. So May 26th, June 10th, November 19th, December 4th. So we have Sagittarius, Gemini, Taurus, and Sagittarius. Sagittarius is powerful. We have a total lunar eclipse on Wednesday, May 26th in Sagittarius, not that far away, about a month or so away, a month and a half. So the energy, and we'll be feeling that energy ramping up in the next several weeks if you haven't already. Sag is a very it's a powerful sign, and it holds higher education, it holds international travel, it holds exploration, adventure. It's a really cool sign. It's a fire sign. And so when we have a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, it speaks to me of the exploration that we might be doing in the shadow work, you know, the shadow work that's happening right now, the shadow realms, the darker realms. And when we have the Gemini, June 10th corresponding solar eclipse, I feel like that is what is going to bring in the light. You know, Gemini sits in the house of communication and sits in the house of, instead of distant travel, it's local travel, right? So it's like bringing things home again, bringing things back to the forefront or back to the home. But Sagittarius is a sign of exploration. And I often think of the great adventurers, you know, they may have had very important placements in the sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is really, in addition to Aquarius right now, the trailblazers, if you will, of this revelation, this revolution that we're having here on the planet. So we're going to be learning new ways of being and living and perceiving with this lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. There is this energy of unity, of needing to unite, of needing to come together, because there's such a divergence. And I talked about that on my last video. There's such a divergence here, like a parting of ways, if you will, a parting of ideologies where you're either on this axis or the other one. But we're going to need to have these conversations. And that's what the solar eclipse in Gemini and this lunar eclipse in Sag, they're going to bring conversations to the forefront about new ways of doing things. And we're going to start talking about new ways of operating and living in the world on a personal level and on a collective global scale. All right, so Spirit, tell me more about What's coming up for the feminine with this shadow work? Perspective. We actually have, we had the shadow card come up in the previous reading today, and now we have the perspective card. None of this matters. Zoom out, find common ground. This is absolutely what I was just talking about with the eclipses. You know, these arguments, they're unimportant. We need to come together. We need to work together in order to create this new earth and this shift. And everyone thinks they're right. You know, one side thinks they're right, the other side thinks they're right, and then we're shaming and blaming the other side. There's a lot of nastiness circulating around in social media. If you believe this, you're dumb, you're an asshole, you're this, you're that, name calling, a lot of narcissism, okay, that has been exposed. And it's like none of this matters. We just need to zoom out of this and realize that love is the only thing that's really truly real. And everything else is an illusion, including time, including separation. We're not separate from one another. So let's stop pretending that we are, because that's what's gotten us into this place in the first hand. And it's so easy to focus on separation because that's what the media points us to. That's what our leaders will point us to. That's what everything is pointing us to in the world. But whether you're pro this or anti this right now, put that aside and just recognize that we're all humans, we're all beautiful, and we're scared, right? People are scared, people are in fear, people are not wanting to step out of their comfort zone. They're not wanting to, they're like, nope, I'm going to stay here. So, and actually Gemini and Sagittarius is, the North Node is in Gemini right now, the South Node is in Sagittarius, so that corresponds to these eclipses, which makes it even more powerful, even more exponentially powerful, that we as a collective, as a global humanity, are dealing with how do we have this conversation? How do we find new ways of living? How do we let go of the old with that South Node in Sagittarius? How do we let go of the old and step into the new and realize that the change that we really need to make is going to be on our front doorstep? It's not necessarily about it's like change yourself and you can change the world. So start with yourself is the message that's coming through. Water your garden. Nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. That's exactly what we're being called to do. So feminine, in this sort of darkness, in this black hole space, and it is a space that you're being contained in right now. Many of you feel detached, or you feel like detached from your reality. You feel like you're floating. You feel like you're absolutely exhausted, depleted, completely void. It's like a void space. This is the 0 point energy field where anything is possibility and anything is possible and all possibilities exist. Nurture yourself. Really, really, really be mindful right now of what it is that you're allowing into your body and allowing into your mind and into your space. If it doesn't feel good, don't allow it. If it doesn't taste good, don't eat it. If it doesn't nourish you, let it go. Don't entertain it. All paths lead home. Exactly. Inner authority, trusting your inner authority. If we all trusted our inner authority, if we all spent a couple minutes a day meditating or just practicing sitting in silence, we all would be anchored into our intuition and our inner knowing. And as we turn our gaze within, we'd realize that this labyrinth that we're walking as a collective, it's just leading us home. That's why they're saying none of this matters. Just take care of yourself right now. Nothing else matters. Take care of yourself. Don't have those fights. Don't expend that energy on social media. If the people aren't awake, don't want to wake up, don't see your point of view, stop trying to make them see your point of view. All it's going to do is cause more interference with your inner peace and the work that you're doing on this planet. The work that you're doing is for the people that are ready to listen, the people that are ready to wake up. Don't worry about anybody else. And trust that the labyrinth and the path that you're walking is leading you back to the place where you most need to be. It's all working out. It's all leveling out, and it's all coming together. We're going to end this reading with one card from the Soul Truth deck. Can you have a message, please, for the feminine energy? Yeah. Am I afraid to be seen? The world doesn't want you to hold back any longer. Time to shine your unique light on the world. You were made from love, and from love you are whole. There is no more hiding. There is no more shame. There is only truth. Live naked and free. Do I allow myself to be all of me? What do I need to feel so I can be safe to be seen? This is really important, feminine. We have shrunk down to fit the narrative that society has given us. We have made ourselves disposable. We have used our sexual identities or our sexual nature to hide what we're feeling. We have suppressed tears when we needed to cry. We've suppressed emotions to appear more strong and more able. We've done so many things that have suppressed our authenticity of who we are as feminine energy, not just females, but feminine energy in all of us. And all this has done is made us ill, made us sick, made us more vulnerable to dis-ease and more vulnerable to depression, anxiety, insomnia, restlessness, sleeplessness, because we have created an imbalance in our bodies and an injustice to who we are. So feminine, speak up and speak out about who you truly are and what you truly need. And know that awareness brings in more light, right? So if we can be aware of where it is that we are hiding ourselves or, shunning ourselves, shrinking down, turning off our light to make others more comfortable, that's a start. So I hope this reading was beneficial. The readings today have been very different. I'm not quite sure. I've just sort of gotten the cards out and gone with it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope you've gotten something out of both readings today. If so, please drop a like and a subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being here, and have a beautiful, blessed day. I'm really grateful for each and every one of you and for your purpose and your mission in this world. It's of such great importance at this time. So thank you for choosing to be here with me at this time. Namaste.